Fortnite is a game that at this point is practically known for being limitless when it comes to collab potential. From Spider-Man to Goku to Billy the Puppet to Eminem to whoever the hell this guy is, what the fuck? It's safe to say Fortnite is the place for any music artist, YouTuber, company, basically any big famous person or thing to collaborate with. However, despite the game's long range of collabs, there are still quite a lot that have yet to happen for one reason or another. So today, I thought it'd be a fun end-of-the-year video to go through and talk about collaborations that I think are the most likely to happen within the next year or so. First though, let's establish some ground rules. The main rule being, I won't be discussing franchises that are already in the game, except for one exception that I'll get into later. So, for example, no Marvel or DC, not like another DC collab's gonna happen anyways, let's be honest here. No Family Guy, no Dragon Ball, no My Hero, no Stranger Things, etc. With that out of the way, here's how this is going to work. I'm going to go through each type of category of collab, like movies, TV shows, anime, music, video games, etc. No sports though, because I don't know fuck all about sports. For some of these categories, I might discuss multiple collab possibilities, while others, I might just discuss one. With that all said and done though, let's get into it. Starting with movies, this first one doesn't technically count because it's an adaptation of a video game, but I do think this collab would happen because of the movie coming out. That's right, I'm talking about the the FNAF movie. The FNAF movie. I think this one is genuinely possible though, and the one big reason I feel like that is because of August 5th, 2024. Also known as the day FNAF Fortnite fans had their dreams crushed. Now, we do know that Scott saw how highly requested a Fortnite collab was, because he appeared in a stream which was talking about Fortnite x FNAF, so he's obviously seen the large reaction to it happening. And I don't doubt Epic would want to do this, because it genuinely breaks the internet, and I'd argue be on par with Dragon Ball in terms of fan response. Technically, you could argue I should save this for the video game section, but since I'm talking about the movie universe here, it's going in this section. I also think the Jurassic franchise has a very strong chance of showing up. It's honestly a shock that it hasn't already happened, and we've had dinosaurs in the game for about 3.5 years now. On top of Jurassic Park being one of the most iconic films of all time, this feels like one of the most likely collaborations to happen, and it not having happened yet sooner is a huge shock, especially it not happening when Donald Mustard was still CCO, and it's sort of fell in 2025, so I could very much see it happening. Following that, when I think of impossible collabs, Mission Impossible is definitely not one of them. Once again, another collab that has somehow not happened yet. However, Epic has been heavily increasing their relationship with Paramount Pictures lately, as seen with Avatar: The Last Airbender and TMNT collabs, and since Paramount has distribution rights and also co-produces the movies, I really doubt this isn't on their list. It's pretty much inevitable at this point as long as things between Epic and Paramount stay strong and Paramount can get Tom Cruise to agree. And once again, Mission Impossible is a film in 2025, so it's perfect timing. From one Avatar to another though, let's talk about the worst one. You know, the James Cameron one. I'm so excited to get my ass kicked for this, but we move anyways. Either way though, I do think this is another one that is guaranteed happening. Disney owns a part of Epic. The Avatar franchise is one of the most successful franchises ever, straight up being in the top 3 highest grossing films twice. So it's very safe to say that they probably plan to profit off this inevitably, and that time will probably be in December 2025 when Avatar 3 drops. And finally for this section, cars. This one has already kind of been leaked, but since stuff can always be scrapped, e.g. the Incredibile, I'm putting it here anyways. This is the only one where there's really nothing coming out for the respective franchise next year as far as I'm aware, but like, come on, it's Cars, it's already in Rocket League and I would kill to have it in Fortnite. Now, regarding TV shows, there's only one thing I need to say for this. The Simpsons. Come on, just come on. We've got Rick and Morty, Futurama, Family Guy, and yet somehow no Simpsons yet. Epic, you are owned by Disney now. All you gotta do is ask. It's so simple. I will be shocked if somehow The Simpsons isn't in the game by 2026. Also, while this one is technically in the game, I do think Doctor Who has a solid chance of getting a full collab, as that's another TV show that has been highly speculated and rumoured to hell and back. But if it's 2025 or not is hard to say. There is a new season coming out next year, but it entirely depends on the BBC wanting to do a proper collab and not just a spray. But other than those, I don't have much else for this section. I wanted to put another animated show in, or at least a live action one. 2 I debated were Ben 10, or at least one Cartoon Network show, and Breaking Bad / Better Call Saul. The reason I held off on the former though was because David Zaslav, and the other was because I genuinely don't think the Breaking Bad universe will ever be in the game at this point. Despite its stupidly immense popularity, that universe is over. Better Call Saul ended over 2 years ago, and that was the last thing to come up from that universe. There would really be nothing benefiting Sony from a collaboration between the two. This would realistically only benefit Epic. One Piece. I'm not even going to waste my time coming up with a stupid wordplay bit for this. It's One Piece. One Piece is owned by Toei, who's already worked with Epic previously thanks to the multitude of Dragon Ball collabs we've gotten. On top of that, it's just absurd this hasn't happened yet. Dragon Ball and Naruto happening first I can understand, especially Dragon Ball, but how through any stretch of the imagination have we gotten Attack on Titan, My Hero Academia, and JJK first? And I like 2 out of 3 of those shows, and the other one I haven't seen yet. I especially love MHA, but how? How did they get here first? But you know what, I'm fairly sure One Piece is going to be the very next anime collaboration. Nothing else is going to come before it. Absolutely nothing. Seriously, there's nothing. Okay, in all fairness to Demon Slayer though, the next season has been leaked to be Japanese mythology, of which Demon Slayer takes a lot from, so it's totally understandable why that's happening. Still insane that One Piece is still not here, considering it's part of the big 3 of shonen battle anime, but you know what? I don't care enough to complain anymore. My final specific prediction is a wild card. No, not that wild card, Persona, wait your turn. Actually, I genuinely think Furore and Beyond Journey's End has a shot of getting into the game. Even if it's not next year, I do think it's possible. It's a highly successful anime, and it's already got Season 2 announced. So I think, hopefully, Furore has a genuine shot. I personally would really love to see it. Now, the reason I said specific prediction though, is because I do have a more general one. And that's that I can totally see Epic diving into more older anime/manga franchises in the future. There is plenty of stuff that people would love to see in the game. Off the top of my head, Evangelion, Full Metal Alchemist, Gurren Lagann, etc. Alongside that, I also think we're eventually, even if it's not next year, gonna see more non-shonen battle protags in the game. There is definitely an audience, which includes myself, that would love to see Epic branch out a little more when it comes to anime collabs, instead of going for the biggest ones. And stuff like Fortnite Festival makes that very possible. Better yet, let's talk about music now. Now, I can't rely here, I don't really have much of an idea of how anyone could predict this. With stuff like anime, movies, TV shows, etc., those are much easier to predict because you can go with what's most likely going to be the biggest moneymakers for Epic. With music, the music industry is so vast and wide, you can go literally anywhere. I'd say my biggest prediction is I think Linkin Park are likely going to get some kind of icon skins. We know how much Epic loves rock at this point, and we already have some of their songs in the game, so it makes sense. I'd argue they're even more deserving of a full festival season, but at the very least, definitely icon skins. For a more general prediction, I do think it's very likely we see stuff like video game OSTs or soundtracks from popular shows and movies pop up sooner or later. It's not like it's not possible, Epic just hasn't done it for some reason. We actually have an example of soundtracks getting aimed via the Cantina Band music from Star Wars. This is another thing that I'd personally love to see happen, especially if we're going to get more anime stuff, such as music from Boshi the Rock, or Girls Band Cry, or video game stuff. Speaking of video games, video games are a funny little thing because of how prevalent gaming leaks are. It's not difficult to find out if collabs are being planned or not. The predictions I'm about to mention have all been leaked or rumoured in some way. However, they haven't been given a release date, and leaks can always be false, as seen with Doctor Who, once again. To kick things off, Kingdom Hearts I think is definitely happening, sooner or later. There's multiple reasons for this. First of all, Kingdom Hearts is a primarily Disney franchise, although Square Enix is involved as well. And like I've repeated multiple times already, Disney now owns part of Epic, so Epic is free to add pretty much whoever they like. And with Kingdom Hearts 4 coming up and Sora being a video game character, I'd argue he makes the most sense out of any Disney character to get into the game. It is very likely they're saving this collab for KH4 though, and since we have no clue when that's releasing, it could happen in 2025 or it could happen in 2030, knowing how long those games take to develop. But if we're speaking about Kingdom Hearts, we obviously need to speak about Final Fantasy. And this is another one that I'm shocked hasn't occurred yet, especially during Donald Mustard's time, since he expressed that Final Fantasy was what got him wanting to pursue storytelling in the first place. The closest we've gotten to it is that one skin designed by Yoshitaka Amano, a Japanese artist known heavily for their insane work on the franchise. Final Fantasy has been rumoured by somewhat credible sources, but nothing really concrete yet. I think 2025 has a good chance, but if not, it probably wouldn't happen until Remake Part 3 drops, which would most likely be in 2028. However, moving on from Square Enix, we really need to discuss the big elephant in the room, Sega. Sega has two collabs in particular, Persona and Sonic the Hedgehog. Now, all of what I'm about to discuss is from highly accurate sources, so while you still should take this all with a grain of salt, it's super unlikely that this is wrong. Persona is pretty much guaranteed. From what we know, the collaboration is basically done and ready to release. They just needed to get approval from Sega. It should also be specified that when I say Persona, I'm talking about Persona 3 Reload, as the collaboration was being done for that. The reason it didn't release was because of the other collaboration, Sonic the Hedgehog. See, there was an argument regarding what to do because Sonic's proportions do not fit Fortnite in the slightest. So Epic proposed they do characters in Sonic outfits instead, which makes sense, but Sega didn't like that because they wanted the characters themselves. And what's really weird is I've seen people blame Epic for this, but I actually think Epic is in the right here. Regardless of how talented the Fortnite developers are, Sonic is in the extremely small minority of characters that I just don't think they can make work. And in my opinion, I'd honestly prefer the collab be scrapped if it's just going to prevent stuff like Persona or Yakuza from making it in. Now, regarding Persona, assuming everything gets resolved, I do think it's very likely that the collab will be pushed to Persona 6's release, as maybe a hot take, probably not at this point though, it is looking very likely that we are getting a reveal of Persona 6 at the Game Awards, and then it'll be out in either summer or fall 2025. Just going off websites for the game getting officially registered, and stuff like super reliable leaks occurring that say the game is 100% coming soon. I think it's safe to say that we'll probably have Persona 6 by this time next year, and that would most likely be the best time to say, hey, let's get Persona in here. It will obviously be for the wrong game, but it'll still get people interested, etc, etc. And finally, to finish this section off, this one's more confirmed, but it doesn't have a release date yet, so I'm going to predict that it's probably 2025 if it's not already out by the time this video drops, and that's Binding of Isaac. The creator has already said they've been in talks with Epic about a collab, and knowing how Epic has been supportive of indie developers in the past, as seen with Lethal Company, as well as Isaac most likely being a backbling over a full skin, this feels to me guaranteed 2025. Actually, I'd go as far as to say early 2025, not earlier than mid 2025. Alright, to finish this off, let's talk a little bit about YouTubers, streamers, just in general content creators. Now, the thing with content creator icon skins is that they almost always pick people who are very involved with the community. People who've been big fans of Fortnite for a long time and made plenty of content on the game. People like Nick30, Ninja, CypherBK, Allier, etc. Now, obviously you have the exceptions like MrBeast or Carby LeMay, but outside of them, pretty much every content creator icon skin has been related to the game and its community in some way. Now, I want to specify that I'm only sticking to English creators here. The reason for this is simply because it's hard to predict creators from languages when I'm not in those communities because I don't speak those languages. So it's insanely difficult for me as a person who only speaks English to predict collabs for stuff like Spanish, German, etc. speaking communities because I'm not familiar with those. With that said, I think there's really only one English creator I can think of that makes the most sense to get an icon skin, and that's Courage JD. Courage has supported the game a ton since 2018, and he's done a ton of work for Epic, including casting for the World Cup back in 2019. We've started to get less and less content creator icon skins over the years, especially in 2024, where we only got 2 creator icon skins this year, and same thing with 2023, compared to 4 in 2022, technically 5 if you count FFC Graph G, and 3 in 2021 and 2020. And this could definitely be heavily due to Festival and partly chapter remakes in the case of 2024, at which both gave us a ton of music artists, but it also probably cost a stupid amount as well, which brings down the likelihood of more content creator icon skins. But the point is, it's more likely coming down to only 2 creator skins per year now, unfortunately, as that's how it's been to 2023 and 2024. Having said that though, that's pretty much all I got for today, and this year as well, kind of. I thought this would be a pretty fun, more relaxed video to end off with, especially since the last 2 videos, while some of my favourite videos to do, have been very different for the channel. I might do at least one more video if I have the time. If I do, it'll probably be for Sonic Movie 3, as that's releasing in December, but if not, so be it. Either way, thank you for all the support these last few months, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.